You have seen within your work, your transactional work in Washington, the fiscal ebbs and flows of Washington. Is Chairman Powell going to be greatly hindered by the fiscal expansion we've seen from President Trump?
Well, there's no doubt that it's a challenge when you have the kind of deficits we have. We're running a $900 billion deficit probably this year, next year maybe $1.2 trillion.
Moving quickly.
And we could see $2 trillion annual deficits if we don't get the growth rates that the government is projecting. So we have $21 trillion of debt now, and we could in a decade have over $35 trillion of debt. So that's something that the Federal Reserve has to worry about. Right now, I don't think the Wall Street traders and bond people are as concerned about it as maybe they will be in a year or so, or maybe 6 months. You never know when these things will come back to haunt you. But right now, it's something to watch, and clearly the Fed is worried about it.
Hi, David. Good morning from London. What are the animal spirits in the U.S. doing right now?
What are the
animal spirits? On the up or on the down?
Well, the animal spirits, I guess, are these. First, I think President Trump clearly had a victory in Korea, getting that meeting done. Whether you think he got everything he should have gotten out of the negotiations or not, I think he had a victory in getting that completed in terms of the talks, and we'll see what happens. I think the animal spirits in Washington now are thinking, well, President Trump has a lot of influence in the Republican Party. Mark Sanford apparently lost his re-election primary bid, and I think a lot of Republicans will say, well, I want to make sure that if I'm going to be running for re-election, I'm going to be okay with the president, because I don't want the president tweeting against me. There's no doubt that the president has used the tweeting power quite effectively. There's no tweeting power that's said to be in the Constitution, and you wonder whether Thomas Jefferson or George Washington or James Madison, if they had the power to tweet, what their impact would have been. We don't have the historic tweets of these great Americans or anybody before the recent era. There's no doubt that President Trump has used this quite effectively from his point of view.
On the economic point of view, are we underestimating or overestimating the strength of the U.S. economy? What are if you look at economists and economist forecasts, what are they getting wrong today?
Well, I'm not sure they're getting anything wrong. It's hard to know right now what they're getting wrong. But I think this is the situation. We are growing at close to 3%, which is pretty good for an economy of our size. The biggest concerns that people would have are the deficit and the debt, or they're growing. And how much longer can we continue this? We are about 109 months into a growth cycle. We've only had one growth cycle longer than this. So people would say at some point this is going to slow down. What's going to cause it to slow down? Is it emerging market corporate debt? Is it trade barriers and tariff wars? Or is it maybe the growing concern about the deficit and debt? Nobody knows for certain. It's not likely to be subprime mortgages as it was before. But whatever causes the next recession to occur, it clearly is something that we can see in front of us now. We just don't know which of the things I just mentioned are likely to cause it, or maybe something we don't know, maybe a geopolitical factor. At some point, we will have a slowdown. I just don't know when it will be. Herb Stein, the former head of the Council of Economic Advisors, famously said, if something can't keep going on forever, eventually it won't. So this growth cycle has been terrific. I don't know how much longer it will stay. I hope another year or two at least. I think the recession has been pushed back because of the tax cut bill and the favorable economy for at least a year, if not longer.